तो ये सारे बातें करने में क्या जाता है भाई। इन्होंने 2004 का मैनिफेस्टो देख लीजिए। इन्होंने कहा था कि हम किसानों को डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर करेंगे, 2004 में कहा था। वो चीज फिर से 2009 में कही थी। आप लोगों ने कभी उनको सवाल पूछा नहीं, अभी तक लागू नहीं की। मेरे आने के बाद अभी मैंने इसको लागू किया, उन्होंने तो नहीं किया था। उन्होंने अभी राज्यों के चुनाव देख लीजिए, उन्होंने यूथ को इस प्रकार से पैसे देने की घोषणा लिखी था, एक भी राज्य में शुरू नहीं की। उनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड देख लीजिए। बाकी अर्थव्यवस्था नहीं चर्चा करनी।
That is placed right towards the right of the dais. Ladies and gentlemen. The Nepal Investment Summit 2019 is now formally open, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the Right Honourable Prime Minister and the dignitaries. Please be informed that lighting an oil-fed lamp before a new beginning is considered very auspicious in the Nepali tradition. Said that, please join me, ladies and gentlemen, to request the chief guest of this ceremony, the Right Honourable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, for his special address to this August convergence.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good morning to you all. Welcome to the land of Buddha and Sagarmatha, the land that makes Nepali people proud of their glorious history and civilization. Welcome to the land where you will be fascinated by its majestic mountain civilization as well as unparalleled. Welcome to the land by its incredible you will be richness. Welcome to the land of friendly and hospitable people where guests are treated as God. Welcome to the land where immense opportunities are waiting for your investment to uplift the living standard of 30 million honest and hard-working people. And there is a government that is stable and remains fully committed to protecting your investment with assured profit. I am sure all this should inspire you to make Nepal a second home, a place of your constant stay, and a hub of your business. Nepal offers many more things. Let's jointly explore and share. Dear friends, a year ago, while addressing the fellow citizens from Rara lakefront of Karnali province on the happy occasion of Nepali New Year 2075, I had emphasized Nepal must prosper and it can prosper. that was an opportunity for me to outline my vision for development of this country. I had expressed optimism that we would be able to steer the development course of this country. I had also underlined the need for partnership with our friends and well-wishers to speed up our development process. Today, I am so overwhelmed to see you here, our good friends, attending this very important event by wholeheartedly responding to our call. I deeply appreciate your valuable participation in it. This summit has brought us together for a genuine cause, consolidating friendship and fostering partnership for our mutual benefit. Through this partnership, Nepal will get desired development outcomes with your substantial investment with good return. I am happy to share with you that my vision for development has found place in over 75 viable projects in different sectors that will be presented to you during the course of this summit. I am confident that you will return home with fond memories of Nepal and with an attractive investment package as an important takeaway of the summit. Dear friends, by the promulgation of the Democratic and Progressive Constitution in 2015 and successfully holding the elections of all three tiers of the federal setup has effectively ended the protected political transition and has fostered a sense of high optimism in Nepali people. An optimism that the long-cherished dream of socio-economic transformation can now become a reality. An optimism that country's development is possible in this generation, and an optimism that prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali, is not a far-fetched fantasy, but an attainable vision. People have cherished the way a strong, democratically elected government has been formed that has both capacity and willpower to steer the development process. In line with my strong conviction that our constitution is flexible to accommodate the genuine aspirations of entire Nepali people, we have been able to bring a force that until recently remained outside into constitutional fold. In Nepal, there is no place for violence. Any attempt to disrupt law and order will be firmly and resolutely dealt with as per law. We had a history of success in political change and failure in institutionalizing it. Now the things have changed. We have institutionalized the achievements and brought stability. Political stability, which is a key prerequisite to country's economic growth, is absolutely fulfilled now. It is not only political stability that Nepal is now ensured with, but also with policy consistency. Legal, institutional, and procedural reforms that was long overdue has gained speed under my leadership. Thus, the past 1 year has remained as the base year and the year of policy and legal reform. We have drafted many new laws, translating the provisions of the new constitution into legal and institutional framework. The new frameworks have also created conducive environment for foreign direct investment, among others. Dear friends, political transformation alone cannot be enough and sustainable without economic transformation. If we could successfully steer country's historic political transformation, there is no reason why we cannot do the same in economic realm. My answer is yes, we can do it. The central task before us is undertake rapid economic transformation. Our immediate goal is to graduate from least developed country status, and the medium-term goal is to become a middle-income country and achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. To realize this, we need to attain a double-digit growth over the next years. A tentative estimation by the National Planning Commission is the country require an investment of over 97.99 trillion Nepali rupees, about $88.18 billion over the next 5 years. Domestic resources alone would not be sufficient to meet this requirement. This is where we would like to urge you to come and assist us in meeting huge investment needs. Our economic policy and its orientation is explicitly spelled out in the Constitution, which is premised on the realization that growth and prosperity is possible only through partnership between and development of public, private and cooperative sectors. Distinguished guests, we are mindful that investment requires transparent and responsive governance and rule of law. With elected representatives in all levels of our federal sector, governance attributes are improving. There is already a healthy competition among the provinces and local governments on incentivizing investment and getting more of it. I have said time and again that under my leadership, there is absolutely zero tolerance on corruption. I am convinced that good governance is essential for economic development and prosperity. We are committed to promote free and fair competition among private sector stakeholders. And you have already witnessed our firm stand against cartel and syndicate. Dear friends, in the past few months, we have made substantial progress in improving investment climate in the country. A sound regulatory framework has been established with the enhancement of two key legislations: Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act and Public-Private Partnership and Investment Act. The Public-Private Partnership and Investment Act provides one-stop service for any foreign investment of over rupees 6 billion or a hydropower project over 200 megawatt capacity. The new Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act 2019 ensures national treatment for any foreign investment. An automatic route system has been introduced to keep the foreign direct investment related processes simple and predictable, and repatriation is guaranteed under earning or equity. We have recently implemented a universal contribution-based social security scheme that will have a transformative impact on the country's socio-economic landscape. The scheme, which covers Medicare facilities, safe motherhood, accidental and old age security of workers, does not only butters the foundation of a welfare society, but also ensure better and healthier industrial relation and hence contribute meaningfully to conducive environment for investors. Our reform drive has gone well beyond this regulatory framework. Strengthening institutions, building capacity, streamlining and simplifying the processes and procedures have also been the hallmarks of our reform initiatives. Statutory provisions pertaining to land acquisition, company registration, equipmental assessment, and infrastructure development have been relaxed and simplified. We have already started online registration and payment system, which will soon be upgraded to full automation system. We will actively pursue bilateral investment protection agreements with friendly countries that will further ensure protection for foreign investment. We will also pursue negotiations on avoidance of double taxation with interested countries to provide their further incentives. The next reform cycle would involve policies and comprehensive legislation in the field of intellectual property rights, commensurate with our rights and obligations under various multilateral instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal is one of the most flexible countries when it comes to economic policy and welcoming foreign investment. All sectors, barring a narrow box of sensitive areas, are open for foreign investment. And we allow 100% investment in almost all areas. We offer an attractive incentive package in terms of corporate taxation, import duties, and export facilities. Tax rates are predictable and tax holidays are guaranteed by the law for those industries that meet the established criteria. We have used demographic dividend with about 57% of population representing the working age group. The labor cost is competitive and low, and there is a good pool of English-speaking population, especially amongst the youngsters. We have developed policies and programs to enable our youth to be imbued with multi-skills. Qualified and skilled manpower available at reasonable cost locally will make your investment less costly. We have maintained sound macroeconomic indicators and hence investing in Nepal is risk-free. An independent judiciary capable of adjudicating industrial and investment-related disputes on a fast-track basis has been a mainstay of our legal system. Dear friends, the other key area is infrastructure. Building infrastructure is the government's priority, and our commitment is well reflected in the progress we are making in the sector of vital infrastructures. In terms of infrastructure, we are far better than before. Almost around the clock, electricity supply has been guaranteed for industries, and the country will soon witness power surplus. Road connections within the country and across border connectivity have improved substantially. The strategic Kathmandu fast track that was just a dream a few years back is now becoming a reality. Our special economic zones have both infrastructure and other amenities to set up industries. One such says special economic zone is already in operation while several others have been planned and being developed in different parts of the country. The Special Economic Zone Authority Act has also been revised recently to make the conditions of investment and operation of industries in the special economic zones more promising. Since Nepal has established a federal system of governance, our aim is to undertake a balanced development approach so that all the provinces get fair opportunity for the development of their industrial base with foreign investment. Guided by this spirit, we have decided to establish at least one industrial estate in each province. Likewise, with a view to promoting small and medium-sized enterprises, we intend to establish one industrial village in each local level. Dear friends, investors know better than others about the importance of location. Nepal's strategic location between the world's two largest markets with increasing purchasing power, China and India, serves as a compelling indicator for investment. Nepal enjoys access to both markets on preferential terms. With India, we have duty-free arrangements for most of our products, both primary and industrial goods, while China has granted a significant number of our tariff lines duty-free access to its market. Beyond neighborhood, export from Nepal is entitled to various kinds of duty-free and preferential schemes put in operation by both developed and developing countries, trade partners for the group of least developed countries. Size of our domestic market is also expanding, along with the growth of middle class population and people's purchasing. Size of the connectivity disadvantage Nepal has had is gradually dissipating because of our efforts for connectivity, diversification, as well as support from our friendly neighbors. Road, rail, waterways, airways, and transmission ways are covered within the framework of multi-dimensional connectivity network with both of our neighbors. Likewise, port facilities have improved. Just 3 years ago, Nepal started to utilize Vizag port in India for its trade and transit. Availability of modern alternative port has helped reduce hassles and crowded Kolkata-Haldia port. Digital tracking and transshipment systems, both introduced recently, has eased the transportation process. A new transit route through the use of inland waterways is under progress. This will not only provide an alternative transit route, but it will also connect landlocked Nepal to the sea through the waterways. Transit procedures are being simplified through the use of modern technology, and this will surely reduce the cost of business. We have signed transit agreement with our northern neighbor, China, and a protocol to the agreement will be signed soon. This will enable Nepal also to use Chinese territory and port facilities for its international trade and transit. Dear friends, I have been telling our friends, and I will reiterate here today as well, that Nepal is almost a virgin land as far as investment is concerned. Investment is in every sector and every field is profitable. When it comes to investment, hydropower could be a prime choice. There are other potential areas: agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, infrastructure, information technologies, mines and minerals, to name a few. Our target is to generate 3,000 megawatt power in 3 years, 5,000 megawatt in 5 years, and 15,000 megawatt in 10 years. While domestic consumption will gradually increase with our rapid industrialization drive, the prospect of regional electricity market is also coming to fruition with a positive initiative recently taken by India. We are also working on the infrastructure foundation of cross-border transmission lines. A robust master plan for such transmission line requirement is already with us. This will guide our future course of action. The recently concluded MOU on Great BIMSTEC interconnection has opened up the possibility cross-border power trade in BIMSTEC region. Nepal and Bangladesh have also signed the MOU on power trade. These developments make Nepal's hydropower more and more investment worthy. Converting water into wealth is therefore a not to be missed opportunity. Tourism is another important sector for investment. Nepal has natural beauty and incredible cultural treasures. Natural and cultural diversity make Nepal a tourist paradise around the year. We are celebrating the year 2020 visit Nepal year. Our intention is to attract more than 2 million tourists. We seek investment for upgrading infrastructure, including hotels and resorts. Agriculture has huge potential for development. We have to move subsistence from level agriculture commercial one to commercial modernization buyers, which requires huge investment. We want to enhance productivity of agriculture, but reduce people's dependence on it. Given Nepal's topography and climate setting, we can develop organic farming system, products of high export potentials. Dear friends, my government is not only a stable majority in the parliament. It is also a government with a clear vision objective for the development of this country. Devising economic policy, the government is not moving alone. Private sector has been taken as an indispensable partner in the journey for economic Before I conclude, I would like to share with you that development agenda and foreign investment enjoy national consensus in Nepal. All political forces in the parliament stand together to invite and encourage foreign investment. My message to you all is Nepal is ready for business and investment. We welcome your investment. Feel secure and seize the moment. Our investment will be protected and your profit will be guaranteed. We do not want any further delay. in our journey towards prosperity. Speedy and comprehensive development is the only option and call of the hour for us. Please join hands in our drive to make Nepal prosperous and the Nepali people happy. We highly value your support and solidarity. I wish you a pleasant stay in Nepal and the summit all success. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, for your very valued statements. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have formally set off in this journey of this very much inspired summit, which is meant to establish itself as a prime hub or the ultimate destination for the aspiring global investors to come and know us, and vice versa. We take a moment herein to present to you all, in a nutshell, the object of this initiative. Here's a short video presentation. Can we have the lights off, please?
Make your best deal in the land of Mount Everest. Nepal, the highest mountains in the world. Living cultures, festivals, diversity. Nepal, land of opportunity and growth. Unprecedented opportunities for investment and partnerships. Committed to foster entrepreneurship and business. Strategic position between two of the world's fastest growing economies. Political will and policy reform to encourage investment. Young and dynamic population. Focus on greater regional integration. Nepal Investment Summit 2019. For economic collaboration, profit, growth, success, innovation, and opportunity. Because the world's driven by investment for economic transformation. Because the entrepreneur is driven by innovation and efficiency. Because Nepal believes in shared prosperity through improved business climate. Make your best deal and be a part of prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. Nepal Investment Summit 2019.
Indeed, it is the idea of shared prosperity that gives us that zeal and drive and brings us here at this particular hub. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, now that the ambience is set just right, we cannot wait to hear from our foreign dignitaries, to whom we are ever grateful for the great gesture that they have bestowed in their presence. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure of requesting Dr. Shahzad Naseem, the Group Executive Chairman, Meinhardt Group International, for his remarks.
Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, the Honorable Finance Minister, Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank the government of Nepal for inviting me to speak at such an important occasion. I would also like to commend the CEO of the Investment Board for organizing this well-organized conference. That the government of Nepal has organized this conference to engage the global business community and attract investments bodes well for Nepal. Prime Minister Oli has been actively raising the profile of Nepal, having spoken at many international forums in the last 12 months. This reflects country's determination to effect real economic reforms and send the message to the world that Nepal is open for business. Nepal has gone through many challenges in the last 2 decades, including a devastating earthquake that set back the country's plans for development substantially. Ladies and gentlemen, it's against this background that I would like to share some of Singapore's and Meinhardt's insights that could be useful for Nepal in its development strategies. Not all these strategies are relevant, but I believe the fundamental principles that anchored Singapore's development in the first 2 decades of its independence will be also useful for Nepal. I was privileged as an engineer to be involved in Singapore's rapid development from the 70s to 90s. So I can share with you the general engineering and policy planning insights that helped Singapore develop critical infrastructure needed for economic growth. The first world Singapore that we see today was a third world country some 50 years ago. The economic miracle of Singapore can be traced back to several fundamental pillars: in political leadership and a vision for the country backed by good governance, public policy, future-proof planning, and flawless implementation. Singapore, as we all know today, is really small. It's 721 square kilometers, and this is after 25% expansion by reclamation. And of course, Singapore has no natural resources. Even water was, and even today, to a certain extent, is imported from Malaysia. Singapore took advantage of its location and started as a trading and a transshipment hub between the East and the West by setting up a first-class seaport and an airport. It focused on industrialization, setting up 2 dedicated government agencies, Jurong Town Corporation, that oversaw the industrial development of Singapore, and the Economic Development Board to actively attract foreign investment into the country. Education, job creation, public housing were other focus areas for the country. The Housing Development Board was set up in the 60s to provide subsidized public housing to the people to eradicate slums. Whilst EDB and the educational and training institutes of Singapore collaborated to ensure that the workforce was ready and available for the industries Singapore was seeking. Long-term urban infrastructure planning and implementation were given top priorities to ensure Singapore provided world-class infrastructure and the urban facilities to attract foreign investors. The master plan is reviewed and revised every 5 years. Fortunately, all government agencies in Singapore work as one to coordinate the master plan for the city as well as the economy. Today, Singapore is a thriving financial, manufacturing, services, biomedical research, and tourism hubs, despite the lack of natural resources and attractions. All our tourist attractions are man-made. We do not have a Mount Everest in Singapore. Yet, we invited and had 17 million tourists in Singapore last year. Ladies and gentlemen, to put the context to what I'm going to say next, I need to say a little bit about myself and the Meinhardt Group. Meinhardt is an international engineering company involved in the planning, design, and project management of large infrastructure and building projects. It was formed in Australia in 1955. I joined the company after graduation in the 70s. It gives away my age, but never mind. But that was part of the pioneer, and we were the part of the pioneer Singapore that actually engineered some of the most iconic buildings and major infrastructure projects in Singapore. I believe so strongly in the company that in 2010, I bought the company from the Meinhardt family, and I shifted the headquarters to Singapore. Beyond engineering, I had the privilege to be involved in Singapore's policy planning, development, working closely with the Ministry of National Development and Building and Construction Authority of Singapore to develop a foundation and blueprint for Singapore's construction industry, engineering, urban and infrastructure sectors. Myself and some of my colleagues, we visited Nepal last year for the first time. We met some of the key decision makers, and we got the impression that the country is ready for transformation. We were so convinced of the potential of the country that we decided to set up an office here, and I'm pleased to announce that Meinhardt has already established its presence in Nepal. We are therefore committed to Nepal, and we believe there's a great potential in future. Underscoring the vision for the country, Prime Minister Oli has had a simple yet clear vision for the country: prosperous Nepal, happy Nepal. Fortunately, the investment climate has also improved. Key legislation, including Land Industry Act, Special Economic Zones Act, Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act, and National Intellectual Property Acts have been introduced. These are all steps in the right direction. Nepal, like many other emerging markets in South Asia, will need to review its urban infrastructure and master plan and implement renewal program continuously. This includes housing. It affects offices, retail, educational institutions, hotel, healthcare, and industrial sectors. Public infrastructure like airports, roads, rail, energy, water supply, and sanitation will all need massive renewal program. These are common challenges for all emerging markets, not just unique to Nepal. According to the World Bank, South Asia is the fastest growing region in the world. Consequently, there are tremendous opportunities to tap in the areas of infrastructure. For example, energy, transportation, and utilities all constitute part of this major infrastructure that a country needs. Nepal, fortunately, is part of this fast-growing region and has the potential to perform well if we can quickly improve the infrastructure and continuously enhance the regulatory framework to create an attractive investment climate. It's well known, but less recognized fact that in today's geopolitical sense, the clout of any country is directly proportional to its economic strength, in addition to few other key factors. This is also the one single factor that improves the social conditions creates jobs, opportunities, and life of its people. According to the World Bank statistics, South Asia currently spends about 3 to 3.5% of its GDP on the infrastructure, whereas to tap its full potential and its economic growth potential, the countries need to spend about 7% of their GDP onto infrastructure. Therefore, countries in South Asia need to double their spending on the infrastructure. Today, the industrial and manufacturing sectors, commerce and exports ride at the back of good infrastructure. The low global infrastructure ranking of South Asian countries is a clear indicator how much work needs to be done in this front. Frequently, infrastructure projects in South Asia never see the light of the day because of the lack of capital. This is a common challenge for many emerging markets. The good news is that there is plenty of money available today in the market looking for good infrastructure projects. It is therefore entirely possible to implement all these vitally needed infrastructure projects by engaging good international companies to undertake planning, structuring, feasibility studies, and implementation of these projects. The second hurdle in funding these projects is lack of suitable regulatory environment to support infrastructure projects which have got a very long recovery period, usually 30, 35 years. Many of these projects need to be implemented on BOT, BOOT, or PPP models. For such projects to have any traction, there must be willingness to provide the sovereign guarantees that are frequently required, parallel concessions, a favorable taxation regime, and the cover of appropriate regulatory environment to unlock much needed capital for such projects. Continuity of economic policies is another crucial factor for investors. The third issue in implementing these projects is usually the procurement policies of the countries. We can never get the best outcome by competitive bidding. Unfortunately, quickest, the best, and the cheapest do not combine well. If I need a bypass, I won't be calling tenders for the cheapest cardiologist. I go to the best. Nepal is prone to flooding, landslides, and heavy snowfall, which affect virtually all infrastructure and buildings. Therefore, there is need to strengthen the building codes and project approval regime to ensure public safety. All of this, with today's technology, is easily available. Many infrastructure projects are delayed due to poor project management, cost and time overruns, poor quality, and safety lapses. Recognizing these issues, Meinhardt International now offers end-to-end solution ranging from feasibility studies to planning, design, project managing, and providing construction management services to ensure that the projects are completed at the least cost, on a timely manner, and with good quality. As part of the master plan, the government may want to consider creating a few large cities in the country to create necessary critical mass. Because the infrastructure projects require huge amount of funding. You can't do this for a population of 1 million people. So therefore, we need to create the critical mass in at least some of the cities to be able to provide this expensive infrastructure. Singapore and Singapore companies like Meinhardt are ideally placed to serve the region in terms of geography, experience in developing world-class infrastructure in such a short span of time, and credibility with lenders. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that Nepal today stands at the crossroad of history, where conditions are absolutely ideal for the country to move its transformation plans forward with a clear vision. Just as Rome was not built in a day and Singapore took 50 years to come to this stage, I'm pretty sure that Nepal would also achieve its objective of prosperous Nepal, hopefully much faster. I wish the government of Nepal and its people the very best in the journey ahead, and we are here as a partner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed. So that, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of inviting Mr. M.G. George Muthoot, the chairman of the Muthoot Group India, for his remarks.
Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Sri K.P. Sharma Oli, who has given a wonderful speech to the whole thing. I am really delighted. And the Honorable Minister of Finance, Sri Dr. Yuba Raj Khattiwada, and my friends on the dais. I am coming from a small country, so Singapore is a big country. I will take only 7 minutes. I am extremely delighted to be here, and I am very happy to see the hall completely filled up, which shows the strong intent and mission of this country under the able guidance of Honorable Prime Minister made this hall this big. And I'm sure there will be a lot of MOUs signed after this meeting, and I wish all the best for the nation and for all the people who are assembled to invest in Nepal. Nepal, after a long time, has a stable government today. Nepal has a government and a prime minister who is investor-friendly for the first time, if I don't mind to say so. Today, the government is stable, and you have a wonderful full-time minister, prime minister, who wants to take Nepal to much higher and much bigger heights. We have already witnessed from his speech. And I'm sure the way he's talked is with full conviction, and I can assure you from his body language and the words, he is going to do what he is promising. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the emphatic sign of the determination is demonstrated through the Nepal Investment Summit, which is attended by this big crowd. I find a lot of people who are interested in investing in this country. Today, Nepal is presumed to be a country with least problems. I'll say no problem, as Honorable Prime Minister said, friendly people, honest people, and as a nation thirsting to grow fast. The country has realized the importance of foreign investment to eradicate unemployment, a low standard of living, shortage of many necessities and amenities in order to make Nepal a rich country. I came to Nepal first time in 1982, And the Nepal, I find, today is one of which is wanting to emerge as a solid country with a sincere urge to grow. And there is lot of difference from that day till today. And Nepal can do much more. I'm glad to say that whoever I have met has the urge and aspiration in their welcoming faces for a growing Nepal right from the airport. Your Excellency, I was very much thrilled to see right from the airport people received with smile and with urge, showing that we are ready to do anything for us. Even there were students which were also welcoming us with smiling and welcoming and confident smiles. When our Chief General Manager and I landed, this has happened yesterday. Our Chief General Manager is the one who is going to several countries to have tie-up with the Muthoot Group, which I will mention about my group later on. The remittance division of the Muthoot Group, what we are doing for this country, Your Excellency, sending 200 crores every month to Nepal from our 5,000 branches all over India. This means annually we are sending 2,400 crores to Nepal for its economic growth. This means we are only touching 2 to 3 lakhs of Nepalis in India, whereas you have 60 plus lakhs of Nepalis in India. I don't want to say about the strong bond between India and Nepal, both in Hinduism and Buddhism, and the friendly ties which India is doing for the country. The Honorable Prime Minister, you may be amazed to note that there are this much people left out, and if they also send money to here, it will be amount which will be amazing for the growth of Nepal. I just want to say, time immemorial people from Nepal in India used to send the money by hand, searching for a man from the village, and the village man comes by train, bus and walking and give the money to the family after 15, 20, 30 days. And we have made it to send it in 2 minutes time from our branch, 5,000 branch, sending to Nepal so fast. And I'm very glad almost all the Nepal individuals and citizens in India are very happy with that. I once again appreciate Sri Anil Karki. He is a Nepali citizen working in our organization. He is somewhere here, and he is the kingpin for going after the complete Nepali crowd in India step by step. He has touched only the tip of the iceberg, and he is going to do much better. And I feel all the Nepal citizens should come through the Muthoot Group. And this Muthoot Group, I will say later about. And we are sending it through State Bank of India to State Bank of Nepal. And it is given through a fantastic company, which I should mention is doing wonderful work distributing this money into Nepal to this citizen. I am humbled to state that our group, which I told you, may be surprisingly 800 years in business legacy. And I am the 18th generation in the business, and 800 years of unblemished track record, and 800 years of charity 800 years of CSR and 800 years of priesthood, which is something rare according to people here. I thank God for this great honor given for this one. And I have brought a small booklet which shows 63 amazing and unique facts about the Muthoot Group, which I don't think any company or group has more than 20 of this one. We are humbled. We pray to God that we have been given a great honor. We are one of the largest group which is aspiring to grow to the heights of the industries and business in India, and we are all determined to work for the nation as well as work for other nations through our division. Muthoot Group is looking for additional investment opportunities in Nepal, in the BFSI sector, banking and financial services, maybe acquiring a bank or an insurance company in Nepal. Muthoot Group has strong presence in the leisure and hospitality, and it is looking for the right opportunities in the hospital sector also in Nepal, because the hospitality in Nepal has a big future and people all over wants to come here, and we are ready to partner with this country. We have presence in education with outstanding schools and colleges. All of them are one of the best in India, and we are looking for opportunities in Nepal in this division also, because education is most important for a nation than poverty. Education will eradicate even poverty according to me. Let me tell few things and wind up. Our group has lot of laurels which others cannot. Number one, the pedigree, which I told you, 800 years. Next, we are the number one most trusted financial service brand in India. Our group has nearly 67 crore customers, which is amazing, and 2.5 lakhs customers come into our 5,000 branches in India, which means every year we are adding 7 crores of customers. And the amazing fact is, the 136 crores of Indians trust Muthoot Group in all our divisions. We have 20 divisions. We keep all of them in the trust area. We are one of the product. 6 divisions are the largest in India. 1 is the largest in the world. And about our financial banking sector, we are the only banking financing where every 100 crore deposit is guaranteed or supported by 140 crores of gold. I think no bank in the world, sorry to say, I'm not offending any other bank, they don't have this much gold against their deposits, maybe 2 or 3%. And that's, I again thank God, that is only one product on the financial. The biggest thing which we see are, we have all these things with the fundamentals of the group. One is the unchanging values in changing times. We have not changed in 800 years, and we don't want to change from the fundamentals and principles. Furthermore, our strong belief in the equation, everything minus God's blessing is equal to nothing, nothing plus God's blessing is to everything. I am winding up because this lady is coming to me. We believe in the great writing, and we believe that we are having 800 of business with 7 fundamental principles of the Muthudu. I am finding ethics, values, reliability, dependability, trustworthiness, integrity, and goodwill. We don't change an inch, even if somebody gives 1,000 crore, and that's why people trust us. And I'm wishing all the best for this country, and under the able guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister and the ministers and the government. And I am sure what they have said, he has said, this is going to be done for this country, and we will all try to come and do business with the great nation of Nepal, which is going to much higher, and I'm sure it will be. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Jai Nepal. Jai Nepal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very positive reflections and all the enthusiasm that you bring along. Said that the only constant today for us is time, and it is of essence as we're looking forward to 2 eventful and very meaningful days here in Kathmandu. And in the interest of time, as I apologize for that, I request our distinguished speakers to kindly cooperate with us and stick to the time allotted to them. Said that, I have the pleasure now of inviting Mr. Sizin Chen, the Vice President of South Asia, Central and West Asia of the Asian Development Bank, for his remarks.
Thank you. I promise I will keep within the 7 minutes. Thank you very much. So, right, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, very, very good morning today. And like other colleagues, thank you very much for the hospitality and also for inviting me to attend the Nepal Investment Summit 2019. Actually, I like the logo very much. Nepal Investment Summit 2019. The arrow just shooting up for the meaning of the investment, so I liked it very much. On behalf of the Asian Development Bank, I would like to congratulate Honorable Prime Minister and his government for completing the first year in office. I also would like to extend our appreciation to all the efforts in this country for supporting this significant historic changes in the last couple of years. The government's campaign of Prosperous Nepal, Happy Nepali, rightly captures people's aspiration of accelerating economic development in Nepal. This summit comes on the backdrop of political stability and improvements in the economy. Let me also underscore the government's recent efforts to introduce economic reforms and to extend economic cooperation in this region. Similarly, with the successful 4th BIMSTEC Summit, progress on the protocol on transit transport agreement with China, cooperation in energy with India and Bangladesh, Nepal has sent encouraging significant signals to domestic and foreign investors. I believe that Nepal is at the cusp of transformation with a great focus on economic and social development. So in my remark, I will focus on the importance of infrastructure investment and ADB's engagement in Nepal. As a leading development partner in the Asia-Pacific region, ADB has supported and also witnessed the fast growth of developing economies of the region. As 2017 ADB study on meeting Asia's infrastructure investment needs found that the countries that grow faster had a higher infrastructure investment related to the GDP. For instance, during 2010 and 2014, China's investment was 3 times of total of 19 other developing member countries. Nepal actually was found to be in the category of the country with a medium to low infrastructure investment to GDP ratio. Critical fiscal infrastructure, such as transport, power, telecommunication, and water supply and sanitation, are necessary to increase productivity of other inputs used in the production of goods and services, and to provide access to social services. For instance, roads, electricity, and telecommunications facilitated the productions and distribution of goods and services, including education and health as well. Lack of adequate infrastructure services is often a binding constraint we find to private sector investment, to growth, and also to development. But with adequate infrastructure, we think, the private sector will also find it profitable to invest in businesses, boost growth, and creating jobs. Developing Asia will need 1.7 trillion US dollars each year between 2016 and 2030 to sustain the growth, to eradicate poverty, and also to respond to the climate change. In South Asia, for instance, this need is estimated about 8.8% of GDP, most of it in power and transport. As a least developed country, Nepal's infrastructure investment requirement is even higher. Nepal has set a target of achieving the SDGs by 2030. It's a long-term vision for becoming a prosperous country by 2043. It's ambitious. Given its limited domestic resources, I think it will have to rely on, to what extent, the external resources, including FDI as well, to meet its all needs. Ladies and gentlemen, since I came from ADB, now let me turn briefly to discuss ADB's contribution in Nepal's development efforts. Since its establishment, ADB has provided almost $6 billion US in financial and technical assistance to Nepal. The assistance was provided in energy, transport, water and urban infrastructure services, agriculture and irrigation, as well as education. ADB is currently financing 2 national pride projects, namely the Melamchi Water Supply Project and the Gautam Buddha International Airports. In 2018, ADB has provided a record commitment of 592, almost 600 million US dollar through 5 projects in Nepal. ADB is currently preparing a new country partnership strategy covering a 5-year period of 2020 to 2024. So we expected to maintain the record level of the commitment during this period. ADB will explore non-concessional market-based funding to Nepal to invest in renewable energy projects, climate-smart agriculture, small and medium enterprises facing constraints, and among others. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I would like to emphasize that Nepal has right conditions to focus on accelerating economic development. With political stability, Nepal can capitalize on improvements in the economy and address remaining challenges in attracting investment. As a long-standing partner in development, ADB is committed to support Nepal in this journey of prosperous Nepal. Happy Nepali. So with that, thank you. With that, please let me extend my best wishes for the success of this summit. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed for your good wishes, valued sharings and inputs. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to request Mr. Hartwig Schaffer, the Vice President for South Asia Region, the World Bank, for his valued remarks.
Namaste, good morning. The Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Honorable Minister of Finance, Ministers, Excellencies, Heads of Delegations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. It is great to be back here in Nepal. It's an honor and a privilege to be at the Nepal Investment Summit. I'm here with my colleagues from the IFC, the Vice President Hans-Peter Lankes, my colleague from MIGA, the CEO and Vice President Keiko Honda, and we, as the World Bank Group, are here to express our sense of optimism and support for Nepal, for the new Nepal. Last August, when the Honorable Minister of Finance was in Washington to visit the World Bank, we had the Nepal Day at the World Bank. That's when we got the first notion of a different Nepal. That's when we first heard about the plan for this investment summit. Later on during the year, in November 2018, I had a chance to firsthand see the commitment and the determination of the ambition to reach middle-income status by 2030 of this new government. And today, with this full hall, and I understand there are more people in the overflow room, I think this is a very clear signal that everybody believes that this Nepal is a new country. It has emerged, this Nepal as a new country has emerged from decades of conflict, has gone through political transition, has recovered from the 2015 earthquake and the 2017 floods, and is resilient and on its way to become a middle-income country. We are here today as investors, development partners, officials from other nations to put our resources and our bets behind this new Nepal. And the odds that we will succeed with our resources and bets are good. The people of Nepal are resilient. I saw that in November when I visited Kaikoura in Province 3, that is rebuilding. The government is stable, has made the progression to a federal democratic republic. The prospects of executing its vision are very good. And Nepal, the government is engaging its people through the federalism program, is engaging its people, one of the most important facts, engaging its people in the development of this nation. Growth has been steady. 2017 saw 7.9% growth. In 2018 it was 6.3%, and this year we expect over 6% again. What's more important is that growth that was driven by consumption, driven by remittances, is gradually shifting to investment-driven growth. This is very important. Poverty levels have fallen. If we go back to the 90s, 1 out of 2 Nepali was living below the poverty line. Today, it is 1 out of 7 12%, 15% of Nepal is still below the poverty line, but tremendous progress in terms of eliminating poverty. So the prerequisites for reaching middle income status in 2030 are very good. What it requires is sustaining the growth rates of around 7% per year. What is required, and that is what the previous speaker said, is investing more and investing more intelligently in the economy. Alone infrastructure will require investments of about 12% of GDP. So there is huge potential for such investment. I saw that in Province 1 in Barun Bazar, where we flew over the upper Arun River and we saw the potential for hydropower development. This is why we are here. We are talking about investment, because public sector investment alone cannot achieve what needs to be done in Nepal. We are here as investors to bring in resources from around the globe and from within the nation to the bettering and the development of Nepal. We are here as development partners to play our role in supporting the government and tap into the huge potential. We are here as government officials to continue with the reform agenda, which has already been very impressive. The Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act, the PVP Act, and reforms in land and forestries. This will go far, but what is needed is not only to have these policies, but also to implement the policies and make sure that the private sector potential is unleashed. Because if the private sector can do a project, let the private sector do it. If the private sector can do a project with risk mitigation, as one of the speakers said, then organizations like the World Bank Group can come in and mitigate the risk. This will not only save some of the scarce public resources that then Nepal can invest in human capital development, in education, in healthcare, in social safety nets, but it will also bring about jobs that are driven and provided by the private sector. So what are some of the principles that we need to observe in this partnership between investors, development partners, and the government? Well, first of all, I would hope that in this partnership we keep the eye on the ball in the long term, because these reforms are not easy. These reforms will often see resistance, will often see setbacks. So we should not be discouraged if there is a short-term setback, because these reforms are getting to the core of unleashing private sector business. And very often those who are currently benefiting from a more restrictive private sector environment will resist it. That's what we in the World Bank call elite capture. So we need to support the government and keep the eye on the long-term goal. The landlocked geographic location of Nepal is actually a potential advantage, because as one of the speakers said, Nepal is located between two of the fastest growing countries, which are home to about 1 out of 3 people around the globe, two of the fastest growing economies in the world. So with an open investment environment, there's nothing better than in tapping into the potential of working and operating across borders. The government needs to hold the line on the reform agenda, but it's not only important to approve policies. This mind change has to go all the way through the public service, the civil service, because the civil servants have to implement the policy changes, have to operationalize them. They have to see themselves as facilitators for the private sector, as facilitators for bringing in investment to serve the people of Nepal. And we as the World Bank Group, we stand ready to continue supporting Nepal. The World Bank and Nepal have had a very strong and a very productive partnership over the last 50 years, and I'm convinced that over the next decades we'll continue with this partnership and accompany Nepal on its journey to middle income status. Right now we have 25 projects under implementation to the tune of $3 billion, and we are putting our money where our mouth is. We'll continue with scaling up our support to Nepal. And I would like us to do this together in partnership with the private sector, the government, and all the development partners who are here in Nepal. Let's recommit to this partnership. Let's make sure that we are doing this for the families in Gaikura who are rebuilding. Let's make sure we are doing that for the worker in Barun who will get a job in the construction site around the power plants that will be built. Let's make sure we are doing that for the girl that is attending school and getting an education and skills here for the future marketplace here in Kathmandu. Let's make sure we do that for all the hardworking and creative people of Nepal. They deserve no less. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed for the acknowledgements that you've made and for your perennial positivism and the concerns that you just shared. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we now move on, and I have the privilege now of inviting His Excellency U Thong Tun, the Union Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, Myanmar, for his valued remarks.
Namaskar and very good morning to all of you. I have a piece of good news before I start. I have a very long statement, but I'm going to prune and graft and telescope that statement to help you manage time. Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I consider it a privilege and honor to address this inaugural session of the Nepal Investment Summit 2019. At the outset, I would like to extend my deep appreciation to the government of Nepal for the warm hospitality extended to us and the excellent arrangements made for the meeting. I'm heartened to see so many officials and business executives representing a wide range of industries, sectors, and interest groups in the audience. This is no doubt a reflection of the growing interest of major companies in the vast investment opportunities of Nepal and countries of the region that have to offer. We live in times of change and transformation. We are at the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution. The new industrial revolution presents us both opportunities and challenges as well. At this important juncture, we need to take stock of the situation before us, the challenging headwinds we have to overcome, and the promising tailwinds that are poised to propel us forward. First, let me turn to the headwinds. Global foreign direct investment is said to have declined significantly in the last year, according to the World Trade and Development Report. That report tells us that the global decline is in fact part of a troubling long-term trend. This negative trend poses a concern for policymakers and investors alike, given that FDI, with its potential to facilitate deeper integration into global value chains, has, for many countries, provided an essential first steps towards the development and industrialization. This gloomy global investment picture underscores the importance of creating and maintaining global and national level investment, enabling environments sponsored by open, transparent, and non-discriminatory investment policies. In stark contrast to global trends, Asia today is very much on the rise due to the tailwinds that thrust us forward. The region has gained its position as the largest recipient of FDI in the world. For countries seeking to attract greater share of global FDI flows, there could be no better geographic region within which to be located. Asia accounts for 1/3 of the global economy and 2/3 of global economic growth. We are witnessing the dawn of a new Asian century. This will have a positive impact not only on the neighborhood, but on the rest of the world. I'm pleased to note that South Asian countries continue to maintain the promising growth trajectory. Indeed, South Asia saw an impressive increase in the growth rate from 6.2% to 7.5% in recent years. This growth rate has been supported by stable governments which have given priority to introducing policies supportive of international investments. reforms which have in turn helped to boost investor confidence. Nepal, too, has made impressive gains on a number of fronts in recent years. Literacy rates have increased, poverty rates have fallen, great gender disparities have narrowed, and social inclusion has steadily improved. Similarly, Myanmar, as a result of multi-sectoral reforms carried out in recent years, including the development of the Myanmar Sustainable Development Plan, has achieved a medium human development ranking, which continues to improve year on year. Per capita incomes have risen by 50%. Our poverty rate has fallen from over 40% to almost 30% today. And we have seen trade flows double, just as we have witnessed foreign investment quadrupled. At the same time, the world is facing a new challenge. As we try to expand our GDP based on industrial and services sectors of our economy, we tend to overlook the most basic needs of mankind: food security. I would like to underscore the need for investment in agro-based economies. In this regard, both Nepal and Myanmar have favorable conditions. Myanmar and Nepal are blessed with abundant natural resources, including fertile land and large reserves of water for irrigation. In addition, the use of high-yielding grain varieties in combination with modern technologies can provide immense potential to boost agricultural productivity. Myanmar was once referred to as the granary of Asia. I believe there is great potential for our region to establish ourselves as the breadbasket of the region and of the world. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Dame Norgay, son of Tenzing Norgay, who together with Sir Edmund Hillary was the first to conquer Mount Everest, is reported to have said that the Himalayan region needs more noble travelers. A noble traveler is one who is one more than a mere sightseer. A noble traveler is one willing to learn and explore while being mindful of his or her impact on the environment. I believe the same could be said of investment. We need responsible investors. Asia's Industrial Revolution 4.0 will be sustained in part by those responsible investors. That is to say, investors who do not prioritize short-term returns at the expense of future generations. Through the promotion of what we may call sustainable profitability, let government work in tandem with investors such as yourselves to usher in a new century for Asia, the region, and the world at large. I understand there is a popular Nepali proverb that goes, "Opportunities come but do not linger." So let us not linger. Let us turn small steps into greater strides and take full advantage of today's opportunities, lest not being so becomes tomorrow's regret. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish this summit every success. Thank you and dhanyavad.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your very insightful and valued remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a moment indeed to extend our deep-felt gratitude to our dignitaries and distinguished guests from the foreign sphere, including the foreign investors who have come all the way to Kathmandu to be a part of this endeavor during these very crucial times to Nepal. And also, we thank the dignitaries, the speakers herein, for their very emphatic, constructive, and optimistic gestures reflected in their presence at this forum and, of course, their remarks. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we are very much pleased to share that in addition to the sectoral several panels which would be participated in by national and international speakers and experts in course of the 2 days of engagement here at the Nepal Investment Summit. We will also be engaging in various bilats, B2Bs, B2Gs meetings, as well as side events that also feature especially the business development forums on youth and women, which come towards the end of today. Having said that, I bring you back to the inauguration ceremony, and I'm very much pleased and privileged now to invite Dr. Ram Sharan Mahat, the former finance minister, also the Central Committee member of Nepali Congress, for his address.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, including former Prime Ministers, Ministers, and distinguished invitees from our development partners, and a large number of prospective investors for Nepal. It is a pleasure for me to have been invited to speak a few words representing my party, Nepali Congress, and I thank the organizers of this event for this invitation. As you know, Nepal has realized the limitations of inward-oriented economic policy in the early 90s, prodded by our own experience for decades of our own country, and also prodded by the lessons learned from the experience of many other developing countries. We opened up the economy. We pursued a liberal economic policy so that there is space for practically every sector, including the private sector, non-government organizations, domestic capital, foreign capital, non-governmental organizations, cooperatives, and everything. Because nation building is a big operation, big challenge, which requires the mobilization of energy and resources from all sectors. So that was the beginning of the liberalization process in Nepal, which coincided with political liberalization, because Nepal adopted liberal political system from the early 90s after a big political change from absolute monarchy to multi-party system. The economic liberalization also followed political liberalization in Nepal. A host of reforms were introduced, and private sector investment, including foreign investment, was made open, even in those sectors which were treated as commanding heights, off limits to the private sector, including energy production and a civil aviation sector, telecommunication sector, which were treated as off limits to the private sector. They were considered commanding heights of the economy, a natural monopolies for the state sector. This was all waived. So the whole sectors were made open to the private investment, including foreign investment. With the introduction of these changes, there was positive impact on the economy in terms of growth rate, in terms of, at the same time, expansion of industrial sector, expansion of our export sector, and all that. But there was a setback after the onset of a turbulent politics. As previous speakers also mentioned, Nepal passed through a very, very difficult period, very turbulent period for almost 2 decades, from later part of the 90s to until 2015, until the promulgation of the new constitution. The period was marked by decade-long insurgency, unstable politics, palace massacre, royal takeover of power, peace process, and the prolonged transition even after the peace process, and the last severe incident, the massive earthquake which took place in the year 2015, April. So these are very difficult times.
you must be aware of the resilience of Nepal's economy. Despite these unfavorable conditions, turbulent politics, natural disasters, unstable politics, now all that, Nepal made significant progress in the social sector, in poverty alleviation, although the growth rate slowed down after during the turbulent period for almost 2 decades, from 2001 to 2015. We made very impressive achievement in the social sector. As just before, Vice President of the World Bank, who is very much familiar with what is happening in Nepal, I am happy that, ADB and World Bank has been represented by Deputy President, Vice Presidents in this meeting, who have been our long-time development partners, contributing much in the process of our economic development. Nepal's achievement in human development, it is one of the best in the developing world. As you may be aware, the Human Development Report of the year 2010 says Nepal is one of the top 10 performers globally and one of the top 3 performers in the Asian region in terms of human development. Despite low economic growth, Nepal makes a unique case where the growth rate was low, but the progress in human development in the education sector, in the health sector, and in other, and rural development, it made a and poverty alleviation, it made a very impressive progress. Like people below poverty line declined in early 90s from about 50% of the total population now to less than 15% based on headcount survey. The access to economic services in terms of access to road, in terms of access to telecommunication services, banking services, and so many other socio-economic services, Nepal has made one of the most impressive progress. And the World Economic Forum, its index on inclusive development ranks Nepal in 22nd position among 77 countries. That is why the World Bank report of 2017, I think, says Nepal is a leader in poverty alleviation. Although laggard in growth, we are behind other South Asian countries in growth. But in terms of our progress in poverty alleviation, they say we are the leader. So this shows the resilience, the capacity of the Nepal's economy, because there was significant public expenditure restructuring in favor of the social sector, in favor of rural infrastructure. At the same time, this was also contributed by the large number of Nepalese going abroad and sending their remittance income in the country. That also helped in ameliorating, reducing the poverty part. But now the challenge is, now we have a new constitution. The election is also over. There is a new government. Now it is time to focus on economic growth through higher investment. We spent much time, we wasted much time in political controversies. So now it is time to focus all the national energy, giving focus to economic growth, economic development, by inviting more investment. Domestic investment is not sufficient to accelerate growth, so we need external investment also. Public investment as well as private investment must be raised by putting a cap on recurrent cost. The public investment, government investment, should be focused on infrastructure creation, particularly in raising the quality of Nepal's infrastructure. Although road expansion has increased from about 7,000 kilometers in 1990 to now 88,000 kilometers now, but most of them are at local level, fair weather, very vulnerable. So the priority should be in upgrading the transport sector. which is vital to economic development. So the government focus should be going there, raising the quality of investment in the public sector, and at the same time, we must invite private sector in infrastructure creation. I am told that now in this forum, a number of infrastructure projects also have been proposed for possible investment, foreign investment. So we have to attract as much investment as possible in Nepal, in not just in public sector. There are several areas we have comparative advantages, competitive advantages in several areas that must be pointed out. First, the quality of Nepalese people, their hard-working nature, adventurous people. They have high reputation throughout the world. They have performed very well throughout the country, throughout the world, in various parts of the world. So motivating them in hard work, raising their productivity is the priority, and make use of this national asset in new investment. The other natural resource endowment of Nepal is very important. That is our big comparative, that is our asset of big comparative advantage. I often say Nepal can be a green energy powerhouse of South Asia because we have tremendous potential for hydropower development that everybody knows. I don't have to explain it. I recall one statement made by the ruler, the king, long time in Sri Lankan history. He used to say, his oft-quoted remark is, "Let no drop of water flow to the ocean without quenching human thirst." I say from Nepal's point of view, let no drop of water flow across the river without addressing, without fulfilling human needs, and without generating wealth. Because hydropower generation does not consume power. It just recycles. So this is a great asset for Nepal. The SAARC has now, we have agreed in 2014, the framework agreement on regional energy cooperation. We have signed agreement with India for cross-border transmission line. Power can be sold out to not just India, to other parts of South Asian region, also including Bangladesh and others, with surplus energy. That is our great asset. The other asset is because of tremendous biodiversity this country has. We can be agro-power. Ironically, more than 2 billion US dollar worth of goods, agricultural goods, are imported annually in Nepal. It is an ironical situation. So the challenge is to raise productivity, and the challenge is to kias on the advantages and the comparative strength that Nepal has and should be exploited, like the aromatic plants, herbal plants, the tremendous type of horticulture, fruits, high value crops. Nepal's this is a advantage for future in Nepal, with links in the international market, foreign market. We can be agro power. So this is one area which must be tapped and which must be exploited. That is another thing. The other thing, we may be a small country, although our purchasing power, as the Right Honorable Prime Minister mentioned, purchasing power of the Nepalese is increasing. Still, it may be a small market, comparatively speaking. But our two big neighbors, India and China, the fast-growing economic powers of the world, contributing significantly to global growth. It is a huge market for us. With both countries, we have preferential trade preferential trade arrangement with India, also with China also. Nepal may be a small market, but our two big markets with nearly 3 billion population are on our doorsteps. So we want to attract investment with these huge markets in mind, taking advantage of Nepal's resources, taking advantage of our hard-working manpower with low wage. So that is one area where I think foreign investment can be attracted. I think we invite foreign investment. Not just that, we are now the member of SAFTA, South Asia Free Trade Agreement. South Asia has more than 1.5 billion population. So the whole South Asia is one market. We can take advantage of that. As an underdeveloped country, we have benefit of the GSP facilities from the advanced countries for exporting to USA of 77 products. USA has enacted a law in the year 2015 called Enforcement of Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act, under which, after Nepal's earthquake, 77 products from Nepal can go to USA without any tariff or any quota, tariff-free and quota under tariff-free and under quota-free arrangement, 77 products. With Europe, we have everything but arms. Under that arrangement, we have access to European market also. So Nepal is not a small market. We have access to huge market. Nepal is currently suffering from huge trade deficit. It is about $10 billion trade deficit now. We import more than $12 billion of products from other countries. Our export is hardly equivalent to $1 billion. So to close this huge trade deficit, we need to invite investment from within the country, from outside the country, FDI, so that we can expand our export base. So that is where we have to attract foreign investment. I am sure there will be deliberations in the next 2 days with government relevant officials from government departments who will be explaining to all the participants about our investment policy, arrangement under various acts, repatriation policy, export-import policy, and various other legal provisions which would make Nepal an attractive destination for foreign investment. In the end, I don't want to take more of the time. And why we need foreign investment? We need foreign investment to raise productivity, to raise growth. Without foreign investment, it is essential for us to take advantage, to capitalize on the assets the country possesses. Although there is some apprehension that some domestic investors fear that if the foreign investors come, we will be sidelined, we may not be able to compete. But, that is not the thing. They bring in not just capital, they bring in technology also. With new knowledge, with new technology, the productivity will be enhanced. And there could be local partners also with the foreign investors. That is, I think, that would be beneficial to foreign investors also, partnering with the local investors who would be more familiar with ingenious conditions. So I think that is a preferable mode of foreign investment, following which both sides will benefit in raising Nepal's productivity, in expanding Nepal's market. Previously, when we were inviting foreign investment in the banking sector, people were apprehensive. But with the entry of foreign investment in the banking sector, new expertise also came, new management techniques came, and new know-how came, as a result of which the domestic industry, domestic financial sector also started benefiting. So there should be no apprehension from the domestic side of coming foreign investment. Nepal's foreign investment, FDI, at the moment is low, around 0.4% of GDP, which is one of the lowest in the subcontinent, in the South Asian region. India, it is nearly 2%. In Bangladesh also it is nearly 2%. In Pakistan, around 2%. In Sri Lanka also nearly 2%. FDI investment in Nepal is only around 4% of GDP. So now let us work hard to attract more and more foreign investment, and we can assure to all the possible investors, prospective investors here, that Nepal can be is a very attractive destination. We have another thing I didn't mention, is one of the wonderful climate Nepal possesses. There are very few countries in the world which have as pleasant climate as in Nepal. So Nepal can be a good investment destination, even in the health and high education sector, because of good climatic natural beauty the country has. And even outdoor sports, I used to say, Nepal can be a wonderful cricket destination for the Indians and Pakistanis to play. Instead of Sharjah, looking at the Himalayas, you play cricket games also. Here we are several cricket stadiums under construction in Nepal, with good facilities of the international quality in Nepal. It could be a good hub for cricket tournaments also, because of the climatic advantage and beauty of natural beauty the country has. There are several such sectors with comparative advantage. We must take advantage of that. In the end, I want to say, on behalf of my party, Nepali Congress, we will extend all support to attract foreign investment. We will leave no stone unturned to promote investment in Nepal, to promote growth. In fact, as I said earlier, our liberal economic policy, opening up the economy to foreign investment, started in the early 90s. We were the pioneers. We started that. We are always for expanding private sector to increase growth and also to move on the path of higher trajectory. As mentioned earlier, we have a plan to reach the middle income country status by 2030. This is possible. Last 2 years, we have achieved a better growth rate, around 6% in average, particularly driven by better weather condition, climatic condition, post-earthquake reconstruction, and better electricity supply. So with more work, with more investment coming, the growth rate must be accelerated. Let us devote all our energy to make economic prosperity, economic growth, prosperity, the central focus. We spent a lot of time, decades of time we spent on political controversies. It is time that we focus all our energy in economic development and nation building. With these words, I take leave. Thank you very much for inviting me on this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Ram Sharan Mahat. Thank you for your very experienced, enriched, expert, and encouraging views and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we come towards the final moments of the inauguration ceremony of the Nepal Investment Summit 2019. And towards the end, I have the pleasure of requesting the CEO of the Investment Board of Nepal, also the Member Secretary of the Nepal Investment Summit Steering Committee, Mr. Mahaprasad Adhikari, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shivani-ji. Right Honorable Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli-ji, Honorable Finance Minister Dr. Yuvraj Khatioda-ji, His Excellency U Thun, Union Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, Myanmar, Honorable former Minister for Finance, Dr. Ram Sharan Mahat, Mr. Hart, Vice President of the World Bank, Mr. Chen, Vice President, Asian Development Bank, Dr. Shahzad Nasim, Group Executive Chairman, Manhart Group, International Singapore, Mr. M.G. George Mathut, Chairman, the Mathut Group, India. Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Chief Ministers, former Honorable Ministers, respected Chief Secretaries, Governor, Member of the Investment Board, Excellencies, business leaders, President of the FNCCI, President of CNI, President of Nepal Chamber of Commerce, and other Nepalese business leaders, distinguished guests, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you with a deep sense of honor, privilege, and humbleness to express and extend a vote of thanks at the inaugural session of this Nepal Investment Summit 2019. I believe the synergy of ideas and keen interest of delegates present here in this summit in exploring business opportunity will shape the future of Nepal. The event is marked as an important platform for Nepal to create a shared future for economic prosperity and establish Nepal as a global business partner. Amongst us, we have delegates of around 735 people as a foreign delegates from 39 countries at this event, representing almost 300 companies from the globe, with an objective of joining hands with Nepal on its journey towards its development and economic growth. At this occasion, I'd like to express my gratitude to the Right Honorable Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli-ji, our distinguished chief guest for this morning, for delivering a truly inspiring and memorable special address. Your vision, your guidance, and leadership surely has inspired us to stride towards a positive and prosperous path. Your gracious presence at this event reaffirms your commitment towards welcoming global investment into the nation. I would also like to extend my humble gratitude towards the Honorable Finance Minister, Dr. Yuvraj Khatioda, for being the driving force behind organizing this event. Your commitment, your persistent effort, and determination have culminated this successfully organizing this incomparable investment platform for Nepal. On this occasion, on this momentous occasion, it is indeed our privilege to have the gracious presence of Honorable Minister, His Excellency U Thong Ton, Union Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, Myanmar. Your presence here is an important step and a testimony to your commitment to have partnership with Nepal for a shared economic prosperity and to propel Nepal's economic transformation. I'd also like to thank Dr. Ram Saran Mahat, former Finance Minister and member of Central Committee of Nepali Congress, Mr. Hard, Vice President of the World Bank Group, Mr. Chen, Vice President of Asian Development Bank, Mr. Sajad Nassim, President from Menhard Group, Mr. Muthud, Chairman from the Muthud Group, for accepting our invitation. We are enlightened by your thoughtful address and delighted to see your participation in this summit, sir. I'd also like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to the line ministries and agencies and respective honorable minister, as well as the member of the steering committee, project committee, for their active participation in making Nepal Investment Summit 2019 a successful event. This event would not be possible without the active roles of the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies, and Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation. And I have been fortunate to work with a team of well-motivated and dedicated colleagues. I would like to thank all the members of the working committee and my staffs and colleagues at the Office of Investment Board Nepal for their tireless efforts. I would like to express my gratitude to all excellencies and representatives of diplomatic mission for their presence. Your continuous support and communication will be critical in advancing Nepal's status as a favorable investment destination in the coming years. I would like to acknowledge the roles of all session chair, moderators, and panelists. We would like to thank you for your valuable and resourceful contribution. The outcome of the session will surely support to accelerate various investment sector policy reforms, as well as the required efforts to make Nepal an attractive investment destination. I am grateful for the support of FNCCI, CNI, and NCC in helping us put together this summit. I thank representatives from the media for their comprehensive coverage of the event, including media partner. Furthermore, I thank Hotel Soltee for providing us with the splendid venue and our event management company, the Imagine. I would also like to thank security personnel and volunteers. I would like to express a deep gratitude to all international delegates, NRN delegates, business representatives, and domestic participants for participating in the event. All the inputs and deliberation aired and discussed in these 2 days will shape the future of Nepal. We hope this event provides you the platform to network, seek out new business partnership and opportunities, and share your comments and concerns. Your open and honest feedback is crucial to ensure the success of this summit and beyond. Finally, I am confident that this is an exciting time to turn Nepal's potential into real progress. Nepal reassures to provide you with the necessary measure to turn your investment into real returns. We welcome you to partner with Nepal for its prosperity and to sharing its prosperity. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, before we adjourn the inaugural session, we have a very important formality to extend. It's a token of appreciation and a gesture of gratitude to our distinguished dignitaries up on stage. I have the privilege of requesting our chief guest, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, to extend this token of appreciation to our international speakers seated in the dais. If I may request the Right Honorable Prime Minister to kindly step forward. First and foremost, His Excellency Yu Tongtun, the Union Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, Myanmar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a gesture from our side, a small craft from Nepal, a cultural artifact which we are presenting to our distinguished dignitaries for the very positive and encouraging gesture they have extended to Nepal and the Nepalese. Mr. Hartwig Schaffer, the Vice President for South Asia region, the World Bank. Now, extending our appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Si Jin Chen, the Vice President, South Asia, Central and West Asia, Asian Development Bank. To Mr. M.G. George Muthoot, Chairman, the Muthoot Group. And last but not the least, to Dr. Shahzad Naseem, Group Executive Chairman, Meinhard Group International. As we extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the chief guest of this inauguration session, ladies and gentlemen, the inauguration ceremony has come to a formal conclude now. We'd like to request all of you to kindly be seated and request to those invitees around the entrances to clear the way for the departure of our chief guest, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal. I request the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Mr. Pradeep Gewali, Honorable Minister for Finance, Dr. Yuvraj Khateura, accompanied by the CEO of Investment Board of Nepal, to accompany the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to request you all to be seated for a bit before the departure of the dignitaries. My pleasure to all the dignitaries on stage and the international speakers to kindly move to the Malshri Hall. And to the rest of us, we will take a 15 minutes break. And moreover, to all the dignitaries and esteemed invitees who have attended and who come here attending the invitation for the inaugural ceremony, our deep-felt gratitude for your kind and gracious presence. And yes, we will be back in about 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes. I suggest in 10 minutes, wherein the plenary session 1 shall commence. The plenary session is themed at investment opportunities in Nepal. Also for your information, ladies and gentlemen, we are trending front runner in our Twitter handle. So follow us with the hashtag #InvestInNepal in all these social media sites. And one more time, thanking you all for your gracious presence herein and for all the gestures that you have bestowed. We will see you in the first plenary session that is spaced in about 15 minutes here at this very hall. Thank you very much.